bypass and how to embody emotional intelligence to start making changes today. Hi, everyone. Here, Tommy Walker, the Mind Engineer. Another episode of the Mind Engineer community to share insight and tools to help you start making changes in your life. In whatever area of your life, whatever stage you are in your life, it doesn't matter. These tools are amazing to help you in any area of your life. Okay, so let's start a bit talking about this first concept that I brought. Hey, Suzanne, how are you? This first concept that I brought is cognitive bypass. For many, many years, people thought, even there was studies and, psychology would talk about how IQ, the coefficient, the intelligent coefficient, was going to dictate how people were going to perform in life in different areas. But later on, years later, Daniel Goleman started with his thesis. He proved that actually it's much more important the emotional intelligence than the IQ, as most people know about this. So what happened during decades, hundreds of years, maybe thousands of years, I don't know, maybe, right? But what has been going on for many, many years is that people are using cognitive bypass to try to deal with whatever negative emotions they're dealing with. So what does cognitive bypass mean, and how is getting in the way of us being able to live the life that we would like to live? So cognitive bypass, and when we use the cognitive side, the rational side, to explain to ourselves different things. So an example of this, and I'm pretty sure that you're going to resonate with this, imagine that you're feeling scared. Imagine that you're feeling sad, and you tell yourself, oh, I shouldn't feel sad because, what is meant to be is meant to be. Or I shouldn't feel scared because, oh, I've done this many times. So cognitive bypass is when we use rationality, that cognitive side, not to feel our emotions. And the problem with that is that if we don't feel the emotions, whatever is going on inside of our body and our mind is not going to be dealt with. Another very important person out there, Bessel van der Kolk, has taught that the body keeps the score. What does that mean? That whenever we feel stress, whenever we feel anxiety, anguish, depression, whatever emotion we're feeling, negative emotions, the body starts releasing hormones. Those hormones create change inside of the body, and that stays inside of the body. It's not released if we don't work with it correctly. So a lot of people are trying to deal with their emotions by applying this cognitive bypass concept. So if you listen around, if you see how you talk to yourself, many times when you listen to other people, it's easier when a mother tells their kids, don't be scared, don't be angry, don't be whining. I'm going to give you a reason to whine if you don't stop crying. Don't cry. Things like that. What they're teaching is to move away from their emotions. And that's what we have been taught our entire life. And I tried that for many years. But in the last 16 years, when I actually was able to hit the right person with the right tools, right, what happened is I started really being able to feel my emotions, process them, release them, learn from them, and get rid of them. Seriously, a lot of people are struggling because they are not actually dealing with their emotions. So imagine that suddenly you are going to have an interview or you're dating somebody, right? And you start feeling this lack of confidence, this imposter syndrome, or are they going to choose me? Maybe I'm not good enough. When that starts happening, what people would go into the cognitive side, into the intellectual side and say, oh, but I do deserve to be loved. I do deserve to be taken care of. I deserve for a bigger salary in my job. And they start in a way dealing with whatever started coming up, in this case, the imposter syndrome, by explaining to themselves that they do deserve, but they didn't actually connect with the emotions. They bypassed the emotions. And one of the biggest things that we need to understand is that we're emotional beings. We are emotional beings that think. We are not thinking beings. We think, yes, but we're emotional beings. And our emotions are going to be driving our life. Most of the times they're driving our life because we're not dealing with them. So if I feel shame, I try to tell myself not to feel that. I try to convince myself to feel better. And this, most of the big names out there, Tony Robbins, Mel Robbins, Bob Proctor, Abraham Hicks, Dr. Dispenza, in the case of how to deal with negative emotions, they have many great teachings, don't get me wrong. But when it has to do with dealing with the emotions, all of them are teaching the wrong things. Because if we go see Daniel Goleman, if we go see Brené Brown, if we go see uh, Gabor Mate, Dr. Gabor Mate, Bessel van der Kolk, Dr. Margaret Paul, and many other big names that by science they have proven that this is what we need to do, is to love and accept the parts of us that are feeling those negative emotions. So this is a part of the, embodying emotional intelligence, the not bypassing, doing the cognitive bypass, but truly embodying emotional intelligence to really feel those emotions. So how do I feel? Start asking yourself, how do I feel around this specific thing I need to do? Whether it is doing your taxes, whether it is asking for a raise, whether it is dating somebody, whether it is changing jobs, starting your own business. Doesn't matter. Whatever area that you're struggling in life, these tools apply. So how do I feel around this area, right? I got to ask my boss for a raise and I'm not doing it. Say, how do I feel about asking a raise to my boss? Oh, I feel scared. I feel, threatened. I feel bad. I feel uncomfortable. Okay, let's tap into the emotions. What are the emotions? Feel them, fear. Okay, feel the fear and let it be inside of you because it is there. So by denying, it's not going to go away. Because if you're not doing what you need to do, is because fear is running the show. So if you want to be able to navigate the fear, to be able to get to the other side of the comfort zone, that is the fear zone, and start being able to take actions, we need to start embracing the negative emotions. So true emotion intelligence, embodied emotion intelligence is allowing yourself to feel your emotions. Okay, I feel scared. There's a part of me that is feeling scared. There's a part of me that is feeling shame, that is feeling, anger, that is feeling regret, that is feeling, I don't know, whatever it is, the emotion that you might be feeling, feel it. The next step is, where in the body could that emotion be? If I'm feeling scared, where do you feel that fear? Is it in the gut, in the stomach? Is it in your chest? Is it in your throat? Is it in your head? Is it in your shoulders? Where would you be able to put that fear in the body? So a great exercise is to close your eyes. You can put your hands here like this. You can hug yourself, however you want to do it, but start feeling the emotions. Okay, so I'm feeling scared. Where is that fear? Oh, I'm feeling scared because I need to talk to my boss about giving me a raise and the fear is in my throat. Okay, there we go. So we're talking. Feel the fear. Breathe in. Feel the fear. Don't fight it. Don't reject it. Validate. Because that fear is there because there's a part of you that went through some type of situation growing up where it felt threatened, it felt rejected, it felt bad. And now the mind is reliving that moment. This is what Bessel van der Kolk has proven through science, that the mind, normally the right lobe, is reliving a past memory and it doesn't realize it's a past memory. And we're reliving that here now. Because maybe you never ask your boss for a raise, but you're scared he's going to say no. Why? Because you have past experiences when you asked for something and people said no. So your mind is now protecting you from going through that rejection again. So the mind is remembering the past and projecting it into the future. So one of the things that I share is that the mind is remembering your future, is calculating your future based on your past. So what we need to do again is feel the fear, feel it in the body, feel it in the throat. How do I feel? Why do I feel this? Oh, I feel scared that my boss might say no. Okay, I have valid reasons to feel that. Now that the cognitive bypass normally tries to come in and say like, oh, my boss never said a no to me. My boss, I don't know if my boss is going to say no. I shouldn't feel like this. And you start going down the rabbit hole of I shouldn't feel this way. And you do the cognitive bypass. And that is not okay because you're denying a part of you. So the idea is to integrate the parts of you. So again, how do I feel? I'm scared that he might say no. Okay, it makes sense. Although he hasn't said no now, people in the past might have rejected you, so now you're scared of that. So how would you feel about yourself if your boss says no to the raise? Oh, it's going to make me feel that I'm not good enough. It's going to make me feel that I'm inadequate, that there's something wrong with me, that I don't deserve. So now we found the script, the narrative, the program that I need to start working on. This is the belief that is running the show. So you have a belief that is triggering emotions, and the mind is protecting you of those emotions by getting you stuck, not asking for a raise. Yes. So now we have found the belief. Now the next question is, where could I have experienced this, or where could I have learned this, that I'm not good enough, that I'm inadequate, that there's something wrong with me, whatever that is. Okay, maybe when I was a kid, I start remembering, and let the mind show you. Sometimes it takes a time to show you. It could take a couple of days, it could take weeks, right? But as we practice this love and acceptance, a part of us, the mind could show you, and I've seen this in the sessions that I practice with people one-on-one. It's amazing how suddenly the mind, they say, but Tommy, I just remember something, but I don't think is, connected to this. I was working with a woman the other day that she had a nervous breakdown when she went to a doctor's appointment, and she was not allowed to she had to do some labs or tests. I don't remember exactly. She had to do something, and she was not able to do it. The secretary said, like, no, with this, you're not going to be able to do it. She wasn't able to do this study that she had to do. And she left the place and she started crying, and she threw a fit, like a tantrum, in the car. And she started behaving like an 8-year-old, and she couldn't understand. When we started working on this, at the beginning, she was stuck. She wasn't able to understand why. And then suddenly she said, Tommy, something came into my mind, but I don't think it's connected. Said, hey, please share with me. And she told me that when she was a little girl, there was somebody else in her class that she was always trying to compete with this girl to see who got the highest grade in English, because whoever had the highest grade in English was able to avoid paying the entire year cost of the English classes. So she was always trying to become first, but she was never able to. So she felt frustrated when she wanted something and was not able to get it. So at that moment in the doctor's appointment, she wanted something and she wasn't able to get it. So the mind brought information from the past and boom, triggered this anxiety, fear, sadness. And she was, in a way, not being able to control her emotions, of course, because they were overwhelming. And in a way, she was denying. She was trying to do cognitive bypass of stepping over and saying, I shouldn't feel this. Why am I feeling like this? This is stupid. This is silly. I shouldn't feel this. So she was fighting against herself. And that made her feel even worse. Instead of solving it and feeling better, she was feeling worse. So what I did is I told her to imagining that little girl that wanted to have the highest grade, and listen to her. Say, hey, how are you feeling, little girl, that you wanted to get this highest mark and you were not able to? So she has those questions. How do you feel? Why do you feel like this? How does this make you feel about yourself? And allow all that emotional baggage to live through her body. Instead of denying it, instead of going to the intellectual side, cognitive side, rational side, to try to deny, repress, ignore those emotions, she was able to feel them. She was able to feel that little girl. She was able to go through that event with that little girl. And I know it sounds weird, but again, science has proven that as you talk to that part of you, you're talking to the subconscious mind, and you are updating the programs. You're starting to reprogram from a loving point of view, not from authoritarism, not from, imposing. Oh, I shouldn't feel like this. Oh, I shouldn't care about this. Everything is going to be okay. And we'll do this test next time. Those are all cognitive bypass techniques to not feel the emotions. The thing is, we need to normalize feeling emotions. And I know it's uncomfortable. I know it's not easy. That's why I work with a lot of people one-on-one to help them navigate those emotions, because doing it by ourselves is not always easy. As we practice this, you're going to see that whatever level you're feeling of anger, pain, fear, anxiety, stress, you're going to see that it's going to start going down. When you truly love and accept whatever you're feeling and go into this learning mode, understanding why you're feeling the way that you're feeling, the emotions start losing their power. They start dissolving, whatever word you want to use, but they stop running your life. So we need to normalize the feeling of the emotion, of the negative emotions mainly. Because if we don't start feeling those negative emotions, unfortunately, those negative emotions are going to chew us up, are going to get us into procrastination, into perfectionism, into not setting boundaries, people pleasing, self-sabotage, imposter syndrome, where you just get stuck and cannot move forward, and many other things like anxiety, stress, burnout, PTSD. Those are all the byproduct of not dealing with their emotions. So I tell people, I don't work with people to help them get rid of anxiety. I help them in loving and accepting themselves, because that in itself is going to dissolve the anxiety. It's going to dissolve the PTSD. It's going to dissolve this fight or flight state most people are in. These high levels of stress, whatever that is. Through this exercise that I'm guiding you through, validating your emotions, feeling them, you can change your entire life. Because remember, your behaviors are going to be the byproduct of your emotions. And as you're not dealing with your emotions are dealing with you. So let me know what you think about this. Have you ever heard about emotional intelligence? Or have you, if you have you ever embodied emotional intelligence? Because most people, again, they use emotional intelligence. I have studied this for many years. I have seen Tony Robbins, Mel Robbins, Bob Proctor, Abraham Hicks, that many, Dr. Dispenza, they talk about emotional intelligence, but they use it from the ego, from the cognitive side. Again, what does that mean? Oh, next time I'm going to do it better. Instead of feeling the emotions of how I felt because it didn't go as I expected, they try to move away from the pain, because according to them, when you think or feel those negative emotions, you attract more. And you know what? That is not true. Because if my kid didn't do good in maths, I'm going to sit down with him and help him learn better, practice more to get better for the next test. So if he didn't do well and we sit and do maths, right? Yes, it is a way of thinking positive, but I need to deal with the emotions. That's the most important part. How did he feel? Why did he feel if he felt negative? That's how we become, integrated, when we start integrating the different parts of us. When you just accept positive in your life, you're denying a part of God. When you just accept positive in your life, you're denying a part of God, because God created positive and negative emotions, not just positive emotions. So there's new studies, more and more people that are proving that we need to navigate through our emotions. If you keep doing what these big names are doing, you're going to keep getting the same results. And I've seen it. I've been many years ago, Tony Robbins had a group that he had around 1 million people in there, between 600 when it started, right? Very fast. It started growing, and then 1 million people. And I was in this group and I was sharing lots of these things. And a lot of people from there started reaching out, because they started resonating that they had tried many things and nothing seemed to work. And they started practicing emotional intelligence, really feeling the emotions, validating them, navigating through them. They became stronger. They became more integrated and were able to start making changes in their life. So if you want to start making changes, if this is resonating with you, type the word free training or free or training, and I'll share a free training with you with more insight and tools to help you start making more changes in your life. Change is possible. And if you're looking, I saw some engagement there on YouTube. If you're watching, you write hashtag live if you're watching live. If you're watching replay, hashtag replay. I would like to really know if you're there, if you're watching, if you're finding this interesting, and if this is helping you. I appreciate you for watching. I hope you enjoy this. I hope you can stop doing cognitive bypass, not feeling your emotions, and slowly start normalizing, naturalizing, being able to feel the emotion. And what part of the body is it? What would that part of you tell you about what it's going through? When you start learning, the emotions start decreasing in its intensity, and you're able to start dealing with them in a much better way. So I hope that makes sense. I hope you enjoy this. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time.